Yeah.
Right, moving on to day 6 then, our final day we've got here. If you've joined us all the way through this podcast and you haven't skipped through on YouTube,
Well done.
Congratulations, well done. This has been our longest podcast ever by a long way, and we've previewed an Olympics before. How have we?
We have. I don't know.
We've
how
gone
done
into
this.
some depth.
Yeah.
We kick things off with the women's 800 meters freestyle Olympic nomination time of an 8:25.84, and I am going to repeat myself from the 1500 meters preview we have done earlier on in this podcast. Amelie Bloxage has a great chance of hitting that time. No pressure. Doesn't matter if she doesn't hit it.
It's all about enjoyment. It's
Absolutely.
almost the same race as the 1500. It's the same names.
Don't tell a distance swimmer that though. It's not
Oh
the
no,
same
you can't
race.
say that. In terms on paper,
Okay,
it's the same sort of thing. They've
Yeah,
got to
yeah,
try and find a good number of seconds to be able to hit the nomination time.
She
It's
will
the
go
same
7.
names. Will she hit the time? Not quite possibly, but does it matter? Not really. I'd love to see someone like Fleur hit the time to see if her altitude. Basically, we're just repeating ourselves from what the 1500 was.
Yeah, we are.
And hopefully the altitude out there has helped her hit the time that she needs to hit.
If you've skipped to this point in the podcast, maybe go back and listen to the 1500
Yeah.
preview earlier on. The men's mixed classification 50 meters. Actually, who's going to win out of those quickly?
I think Amelie. Amelie.
Yeah, okay. Men's mixed classification 50 meters breaststroke. Only one swimmer entered in this. Again, we don't love to see this. But Lyndon Longhorn, he's got 7 seconds to find off the individual Paralympic nomination standard. Big ask for the S4 swimmer. Again, you'd love to see some way of getting swimmers to race with him or combining it with female. I think 7 seconds is quite an ask.
Again, it's a 50 meter, and to find 1 or 2 seconds on the 50 meter is hard going, let alone 7 seconds. So, yeah, it's a big ask for Lyndon, an even bigger ask because he's swimming by himself as well. So there's no one to really race against to help him on that front.
Big London crowd to cheer him on, though. Yeah.
Oh yeah, well I hope so. Yeah,
we know.
Yeah.
So. We know. So.
Yeah.
Men's 200 meters backstroke. This is a fascinating one, Dan. I'm glad we've got to this point because this is the start of a very hot run of races. The Olympic nomination standard is a 1:57.28, of which one swimmer has already gone under that this season in Luke Greenbank. So glad he's back to form in this event. He's gone a 1:56.9. He did earlier on in the year, I believe at Rotterdam.
Yeah, I'm going to go
I say actually end of last year, I think it was.
Yeah.
He's been on training camp with Ollie Morgan. Ollie Morgan has been swimming lights out all year. I don't think he's quite got underneath this nomination standard, but he's been 1:57s.
Yeah.
Brodie Williams, again, like Luke, swam the Rotterdam meet and I believe got close to this nomination standard. He didn't quite get underneath it, but he has gone beneath it before quite comfortably. He did it last champs. Then you've got the likes of Cam Brooker, Charlie Brown, Matthew Ward who can come through. This is the backstroke depth that we said in the hundreds. To me, Luke is the... Is he the favourite because Ollie Morgan's swimming so well?
I would say yes. So
This
in
is
terms
Luke's. This is
in
Luke's
terms
event.
of the 200 meter distance, you have to put Luke as the number one. You have to, especially the fact that he's coming back to form. Like he's hitting the same sort of times as what he's hitting in the lead up to Tokyo, and he hit a British record of that swim was 1:54, an incredible swim. Kind of unfortunate he ran into Rylov and Murphy, who were just animals at that point, but he came away with an amazing bronze medal.
Yeah.
Brodie Williams, I think, is a bit of a question mark for me.
One.
I don't know where he's at. I know where Ollie Morgan is.
He swam 1:57s.
Yes, I know, but it hasn't been like kind of consistent with it. Whereas you compared like Ollie Morgan, you kind of know he's going to hit 1:57.
It's in season racing though.
You know he's going to hit a 53, and I just don't know if Brodie. I'm not confident that he's going to be able to hit consistent times like that. He might prove me wrong. He's a big time swimmer, isn't he? Like he hit a
Commonwealth, the gold medalist, mate.
Yeah, I know exactly. But that was when was that? Was that 2 years ago now?
2 years ago.
Yeah, so
and he
he's
hit
doing
a
okay.
He came second last year.
Yeah. Against Ollie Morgan. Yeah, I honestly think that there are 4 swimmers here that could hit the nomination time. I think Cam Brooker can join them.
Yeah. For some reason, I just have Matt Ward. Like he made big jumps last year. I feel like the 2 back is maybe lean in towards that. I know it does 2 IM pretty strong as well. I think the 100 is too short for him.
He's gone sub 2, hasn't he, for his 2 back? Pretty sure he has. Yeah. Maybe. I mean, it's so deep. The final in general is going to be fascinating. But I do think Luke is the standout swimmer.
I agree. I agree with Luke, and I'm just glad he's back to form. This has always been his event.
Yeah. My biggest question is who's going to join him on the plane for the event. So if I'm saying 4 of them could hit this nomination time, it's about who hits the wall second. And I don't know who that could be.
Yeah, it's between Ollie and Brody for me.
I think it might be Brody. I think. In fact, I'm going to go Brody. Yeah.
Okay. I just feel like Ollie might get some momentum off the back of the 100, but there's a big gap. There's 4 days between these. Yeah. It's a long gap.
I can't remember seeing Brody's name anywhere else apart from the 100 back, actually. So is he just?
No, he's just doing the 2 backs. He's not doing the 4 AM this year. He's fed up of looking at bucket after the
race. So maybe that's why he's targeting, or maybe he will be targeting.
I think the two's been his target.
Yeah, and that's probably why I'm leaning towards Brody, just because I didn't see him on the 400 IM entry list.
Women's 100 metres breaststroke. This is glorious. Glorious that this is the next race. Nomination standard is fast. It's a 106.31. It's fast in terms of British swimming, world swimming. Not too fast. It's not unconceivable fast. Angharad Evans has gone below that this year and got very close to Molly Shaw's British record.
Yeah, she did.
And she is getting faster and faster every time she's in the pool.
It's exciting. Yeah.
Is she on the plane, train, whatever they're taking to Paris?
Plane, train, Eurotunnel? Honestly, yes. I think so. The way that she's going, I think she'll not only hit the nomination time again, she'll hit a British record, and she may even scrape a high 65.
Whoa, you're doing it.
Whoa. I've gone there. Yeah. And I think even Cara might pull something out of the bag as well.
Yeah, I agree. I think the rivalry that's building between them is a storyline that British swimming needs.
Yes.
Sterling against Edinburgh.
Both up in there in Scotland, yeah.
Both 106s, both getting close to... I think they both go. I think Cara can get beneath that nomination standard as well.
It's funny when we looked at nomination times at the very beginning, we highlighted this one saying, "Oh, geez, this is fast. You've got to go basically a British record to be able to go to Paris." And now we've suddenly turned around and said, "Yep, we're going to have 2 people on the plane." That's what a turnaround that's suddenly been in the last couple of months or so. But I firmly believe that those 2 will go. I think a low 66 is on the cards, and then even a high 65 might even be there.
Angharad is flying.
She's doing very well.
She's almost the talk of British female swimming heading into this slightly. I know everyone wants to see what she can do. Mixed classification 100 breaststroke then for the women. Para nomination standards are within reach for lots. So Rebecca Redfern, well under the nomination standard in SB 13.
5 seconds or so, isn't it?
5 seconds.
4, 5. Yeah.
Louise Fidesz, who we've already talked about, should be already on the Paralympic team elsewhere, is well under it in the SB 14 by a second. Brock Winston is under it in SB 8 by like 8 seconds.
Yeah.
Some very good
another race we're strong at.
Maisie Summers, these are names that we've said so many times on this podcast, so they're names you should get to know before the Paris Paralympics.
Yeah.
Maisie Summer Newton, this is another one of her great events, 100 breaststroke. She's 5 seconds beneath. Grace Harvey, SB 5, 5 seconds beneath. Scarlett Humphreys is on the border. She's under by 1/100th of a second, sorry. So it's touch and go. She's got to be around about her entry time to go. But like we said, there's entry points elsewhere. There's so much depth. And all of these girls should really be making that mixed classification final as well. So it'd be good to see them all in the same field.
Yes, and all of them, actually looking at the list here, they're all different classifications as well. So that's a good spread, isn't it? I think. We seem to do breaststroke very well in this country. Both able-body, para swimming, male, female. We seem to do it quite well.
We do. Moving on to the women's 100 metres freestyle. Again, this is a bit of an unknown with where Freya Anderson is. So at this point in time of recording, we will say she's unlikely to go. So behind her, Anna Hopkin is the quality of the field. She's still going to have to swim well to make the nomination standard of 53.55. And then behind her, it's relay permutations. So Freya Colbert swims the 100 freestyle. Meddy Harris is in this. Abby Wood's in this. Lucy Hope. Evie Davis. Then there's youngsters like Eva Acaro, Erin Little, Sky Carter, who could all throw their name into the hat. This is a relay team that will go. I'm kind of...
Yeah, I think so.
Quietly confident on that. There's a big leg up in the likes of Abby, Meddy, Freya in the fact that they will be swimming races elsewhere. So they're strong possibilities for this relay. For other swimmers to get considered, I think you've got to go sub 55.
Well, there's a huge bunch of them, actually.
There
55 is. Mid to low.
I think you've got to go sub to set yourself apart and maybe get onto that team.
It's like a cluster of like 4, 5, 6 swimmers in the 55 region. So if you can separate yourself out and go a 54 point, it just looks so much better than a 55.00.
Yeah,
which is kind of what Lucy Hope has done. She's gone in that 54 region almost by herself, and it's kind of guaranteed her a slot in the relay.
Yeah. So there's a reason I wanted to talk about Eva Acaro.
Yes.
On this podcast earlier on. At the end, at the Sheffield Premier Meet, she went a 54.6.
Quick, isn't it?
She swims that again or drops it again. I genuinely think she makes the relay team.
Surely she'd have to be. She's in the same ballpark as Lucy Hope, who would be going for the relay. Yeah. Absolutely. Like, I've got no question about that. No doubt about that at all.
The only thing is if the others have the nod because of selections elsewhere, like the criteria-wise.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
I think if she gets top 4, maybe even top 3, 2, it would be incredibly hard not to take her.
Well, let's say Franson's not going, which is the way we're going with at the moment.
With our preview.
Yeah. You then say Anna wins, of which then it's Lucy, Abby. I
think Eva
54 mid is that's
better
half
than
a second faster than Abby. Yeah, how would you not take her?
And it's in season. That was an in season swim. I genuinely think she's around the Lucy Hope region.
That is super exciting, though. I mean, I've talked about Eva forever on this podcast, and the fact that she could have the possibility to go to the Olympics at the age of 18, yes, for a relay, but then against experience-wise, and she puts in a good shift on the 50 as well. She maybe swims that if she's on the relay anyway. So you never know. So there's a lot of things that could potentially go her way, or Erin Little, or Sky Carter
as well.
So,
they're youngsters I really wouldn't count out.
No, exactly.
They've actually
very
got
exciting.
A lot of experience as well through that youth circuit and racing, where British swimming have taken them over the past few years.
Yeah, exactly.
Mixed classification, 100 meters freestyle. Names again, we're repeating ourselves. Faye Rogers, she's not quite under the nomination standard. She could get there. Ellie Chalice is underneath the nomination standard for S3. Tully Kearney, again, well beneath the S5. Susanna Hex, brilliant story that she's got. We've spoken to her on this podcast. She should go. She's under this time. And Tony Shaw in the S9 is there or thereabouts, and we've mentioned her before. I'm just repeating myself from a previous event. Get to know these names, people.
Yes. I mean, they're fantastic swimmers. But the only name we haven't mentioned before is Susanna Hext. If you haven't already watched her celebration, what was it, the 53 at Worlds?
It's amazing.
It's just an amazing reaction, and I'm pretty sure if she were to go underneath the nomination time, she'll have that same sort of reaction again. So hopefully if you do go on poolside or in a stand at London Aquatics Centre, you'll have to see that in real life rather than through a screen. And that'll be something else. I'm very excited to go and speak to her, actually.
Okay, moving on. Men's 200 metres freestyle. I say moving on.
The race of the week. The race of the week.
Race of the world, man. Yeah. This is, to me, the best domestic race in world swimming. We will put up a more detailed video of why. But there are fascinating battles in this on, for me, 2 separate levels.
Okay.
There's a battle for first and second to race this individually because the nomination standard, just ignore it.
Yep.
Those 4 guys of James Guy, Duncan Scott, Tom Dean, Matt Richards, all can get that without doubt, easily.
Yep.
Then behind them, there's a race for who can get the relay spots, because they're going to take 2 alternates.
Oh,
in my opinion.
Okay, right, yeah.
In my opinion, they take 2 alternates, potentially even 3, if Max Litchfield swims fast enough. I think he's the 3rd because he's going in the 4 a.m. If he swims anywhere like he did at Worlds, I think they take him and they race him in the heats, because a 146 that he could swim in the heats, or a 147 is that's more than good enough to make a final.
Yeah.
So, where do you want to start with this? Do we start at the top, or do we start at the bottom? I say bottom, 6th or 7th.
This is a tough race to predict, don't you think? I kind of alluded to it earlier with the women's 200 fly and another race which I now can't remember because we've been talking for the last 2 hours or so. But there's another race where someone's going to be
really disappointed,
broken-hearted. Well, there's going to be 2 of them, to be fair, because there's 4 of the top 4 guys. One of them is Olympic champion, one of them is world champion, one of them is Olympic silver medalist, and one of them is a former world champion. 2 of those guys are not racing the individual 200 free.
I know.
That's
like, you put all 4
insane.
of those in an Olympic final, and any of them could come away with an Olympic medal.
Honestly, if all four go into the Olympic final, we could come away with 3 medals.
Well, you're probably writing off a few.
Maybe
Hwang Sung-woo, David Popovich, but no, like I get what you're saying.
Every possibility of it happening.
I get what you're saying.
And I'd hate to predict 2 of those guys to not make the team.
But people listen to this podcast to hear our prediction.
They do, and yeah, we don't get paid enough to make that.
We don't get paid anything.
I'm going to go for the winner, and I think Matt will win it. I'm not saying that confidently, but I think Matt will win it. Who's going to finish second? Oh, jeez. I'm going to go. I don't like saying this, but I'm going to go with Tom to finish second, which means Duncan and Jimmy miss out. I am not comfortable saying that at all. At all, actually. But that's what I'm going with.
Are you?
I'm going to change my mind often, I think, throughout the whole week.
Yeah, we're recording this on a Wednesday morning, we are now.
We are now.
It was Tuesday night. It's Wednesday morning now. Believe it or not, it's like
half 12-ish.
Half 12 in the morning.
Yeah.
I've backed Duncan a lot in this podcast so far.
You have. That's true. Yeah. I think if we were to watch Tom do more racing this year and see where he was, I think we'd be more confident picking Tom as a top 2.
Yeah, it's hard. It's really hard. But at Worlds, if you put him on the same level as Duncan, Matt...
Yes. He didn't perform at Worlds at all, did he?
But then again, he just showed up.
But then you throw, if you want to call it a dark horse, in Jimmy, who's been doing incredibly well.
That's where I'm leaning.
Beat Matt's short course. I can't remember when it was now.
See, I'm leaning towards Jimmy for the second.
Are you?
I don't know why. I don't know why. We've obviously got our ear to the ground quite a lot in British swimming.
Yeah.
And there's big whispers about what he's doing at Millfield.
Yeah. Ryan Livingston, I don't know what he's doing, but we need to go down there and actually see what is happening.
I think you're right with Matt. And behind them, I kind of want to predict on the day.
Oh, sorry. No, I've made my prediction, so you're going to have to... But we can change it on the day.
Oh, I've backed Duncan hard already. I can't get off that. I've said he's going in the 100 free, for God's sake.
Yeah, you did say that. Yeah.
I'm with you on Matt. I have this nagging feeling about Jimmy.
So you think the Olympic gold and silver medalists
don't go?
From
That's
Tokyo
stupid.
Don't go. That's
man. No. Why am I doing this? I'm going Tom.
Okay.
We've backed Duncan a lot. I don't know where Tom is. I just feel like he's an Olympic champion, for God's sake.
Yeah.
And nothing has overly gone wrong for him since then. If you think,
not really,
he just got touched out by Matt at Worlds. It's the same as Duncan.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'll go Tom. Tom
and Duncan are basically the same sort of time. It's like what is it, 400s, isn't it? It's the same time. It's the same swim.
Okay, I'll go Matt and Tom.
Matt and
It
Tom
feels
seem on the
safe. It
I
feels safe.
I hate this prediction so much. The fact that I can't. Oh man,
Should we change it?
I've never betted. I've never bet against Duncan before. That's the first time I've ever done it, and I feel horrible for doing it.
This is in pencil.
Yeah, very much so.
On the day, we will put out our actual prediction.
Oh wow! Behind them, so you think there'll be 2 relay spots on offer?
Genuinely do.
I think there'll only be 1.
Okay.
Let's say Jacob Whittle does amazing in the 100 freestyle, and then manages to go, let's say 147. Would that then be enough?
Well, this is the same with me saying Max goes as a 3rd.
Yeah. Well, because he's going to go anyway. Joe Litchfield, is he going to... Yeah, I don't know.
We haven't really spoken about Joe much.
I know.
And Joe swam really well out in Doha.
He did. And his underwaters are still just incredible.
I think Jack McMillan and Joe Litchfield go. That's me.
You reckon?
I think they go.
It makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah. Because Duncan and Tom are racing a lot. Matt's racing a lot.
Would you throw Jack and Joe in the heats of the 4x1 as well as heat swimmers?
It depends what they do. We've already said that one's a bit more. That one feels like a closer risk of dropping and resting people. This one doesn't, because the whole final is going to be going 148s and below.
Yeah,
really.
Yeah.
What's it even going to take to make this final?
To make the final,
147s.
That sounds insane.
It does sound insane.
You're probably right. 147.8, something like that.
Yeah. And what time wins it? Could we see Matt go a 143?
Yeah.
Whoa.
I think so. A 143.9. It's like just under sub 44, I think. I think we see a 43.
Oh, I think this is you race the race. I don't think the time is as fast as.
The time is irrelevant, really. It's just getting your hand on the wall.
But you do reckon the time comes?
I think the time happens naturally. Yeah, 43.9, just under.
Blimey.
Yeah,
okay,
that's quick, isn't it?
That's a British record, isn't it?
It would be, yeah.
Wow. Okay. Okay, we'll round up this chat somehow with the men's para 200 meters freestyle. William Ellard. We've already spoken about him once being close to world record pace. In the 200 meters freestyle, he is again very close to world record pace. He's entered on a 154.7. The world record is a 152.4. Reese done, man.
Done, right? Yeah.
Reese done.
He's quick.
He did not get the plaudits he deserved while he was swimming in
not.
Tokyo. Won't surprise you that Will Ellard is well beneath the nomination standard for S14. Jordan Catchpole is bang on.
Yeah, the time is exactly the same. Yeah.
Bang on the nomination standard. He is, I believe he's teammates with Will Ellard. So they should both go. And then there's 2 strong S10s who are likely to qualify. And Oliver Carter and Kieran Williams, they are again well beneath the nomination standards.
Yeah.
Like Will Ellard could set some fireworks off before this men's 2-3 final. That would be fun.
Well, this is why you want to get involved in the Speedo giveaway. If you can get 6 tickets for this final day and it ends with a potential world record the race of the week, then geez.
Race of the year.
Yeah.
Well, that might be early. An early shout. Cool. So that rounds up the propulsion swimming British Champs Preview 2024.